Hey everyone, Greenbeard here, and welcome back to another MLB 9 Innings 22 video on my channel. So this week, I had mentioned that I wanted to do a training video so I could stockpile resources for the Team Select SIG when that comes out. So that's what this video is going to be. So the way that my plan is to do this is I'll show you how I work on training a starting pitcher, a hitter, just any general batter, and a relief pitcher. So to start, we will hop over to the Twins team where I'll show you how I work on a starting pitching train, and we'll be doing that with our Bert Blyleven there, who needs to be retrained very badly. Alrighty, so we're back with Blyleven here, and the plan is to retrain him. As you can see, he doesn't have a very good train. 22 to break is frankly awful, and since we've maxed out his special training, we want to get that all out of breaking ball. So, what I'm looking for with the starting pitcher, first things first, do they have finesse pitcher or dominant pitcher? Clearly, Bert Blyleven does not. But if you have a starting pitcher that does have finesse or dom, like, for example, I'll go show you with Kenta Maeda here. He has finesse pitcher, and it says increases location and break and gets additional effects to those stats when those stats are higher than velocity and fastball. So how that works is if you combine the location stat, which is this stat right here, with the breaking stat, which is this stat right here, if you add those two together, and then you add velocity and fastball together, if the combination of location and break is 15 or more than velocity and fastball, then you get the additional effects. If it's less, you don't. So the way I calculate it, because, adding 136 and 133, that's, we don't like working with big numbers, right? So the way I do it, for reference, 127 and 136 location and velocity. That means he has 9 more location than velocity. So that's plus 9 toward the finesse bonus. Now, if you look at fastball and break, he has 13 more break than fastball. Because you need break higher, that's plus 13 toward finesse bonus. So now you have 13 and 9, which means you have plus 22 to finesse bonus. That's 22 is higher than 15, which means he does get the finesse bonus. And then dominant pitcher is the exact opposite. You just flip those numbers in those calculations. For new players who are starting out who have never done that before, I know that can be confusing. Right now, Maeda's trained because he has finesse and because he gets the finesse bonus. I'm not going to touch him just yet. We only have 4 million points, so the chance of getting a really good finesse train is a little bit lower than the chance of getting a really good general starting pitching train. So, now that that's out of the way, we have our card here. Our starting pitcher, Blyleven, does not have finesse or dom. So what are we looking for? Well, generally speaking, you want as many stats as you can get to the left side. Now, that means location and velocity. As far as we know in this game, those two stats are the most important stats when it comes to pitching. Fastball and break are important, don't get me wrong, because you want your pitches to be S tier. And the higher the stat is, the fastball or the breaking stat, the higher those pitches tier up. So it goes from, D tier to C tier to B tier to A to S. Most of the time when your card is diamond or black diamond, it's already going to be A or S tier. And then anything additional just means that as that pitcher gets tired in a game and their stats drop, it just means that they're not likely to drop. The pitch type, the value isn't likely to drop from S to A, or so on and so forth. Because we don't really have any clear information on How exactly that works, the general understanding is, unless you're going for finesse or dom, you want as much to the left side, again, that's location and velocity combined, as you can get, and as little to stamina. Now, especially on a legend card, because Blyleven's highest stat is stamina, and it's always great to have good stamina, right? Now, Inning Eater is the only skill in this game where stamina matters. And if you hit the stamina threshold, the value threshold for stamina, while you have Inning Eater, it can be a really, really good skill. The problem is that value is 120. That means on Burt Blyleven, whose highest base stat is a whopping 79 stamina, with 18 to his max grade increase to stamina, would need a train of 12 to stamina to hit that Inning Eater bonus. Now, if he was a SIG, well, he would hit that in his dreams, which is why usually Inning Eater is better on a SIG. Again, he doesn't have Inning Eater, and I'm not going to be reskilling him anytime, so it doesn't matter. But, I just wanted to talk through some of these things to look out for. So, with that being said, we will use a level reset ticket and reset his train. Now, we can see his stats here. His lowest base stat is velocity. And of the two, velocity and location, that means ideally, with this train, I'm looking for as much to the left side, velocity and location, but I want velocity to be number one. That means it gets the highest bonus for special training. So because he's Black Diamond fully special trained, that means he will get plus 12 additional velocity. And we want that. We want his velocity as high as possible because it's so naturally low. We want location next highest. We want stamina as low as possible. And because his fastball and break stats are the same, I'm really good. It doesn't really matter to me which one we go with second. And with trains like this, usually I'll just let them run for a little bit. I'll do a train 10 times. And then I'll see where that train 10 times ends. Once that train 10 times is over, I'll take a look. If it's passable, if it looks like it could be trending in the direction we want, then I'll keep going a little further. And if not, I'll reset it and we'll go again. So right now, I'll show you. We're at 7 through 20. Not going to do the add. Oops, sorry. That's fine. We had that one extra anyway. So this is essentially trained 10 times. We've 8 successful. Right now, under development, you can see what we have. We have 3 location, 3 velocity, 5 to stamina, 6 fastball, 4 break. Because we're through 8, and he's got 5 to stamina, that means, in all likelihood, that stamina is going to go up. The likelihood that he sits at 5 stamina the rest of the way and only gets stats to everything else is virtually 0. And 5 stamina is just about the threshold for me, personally, that I'm okay with on a starting pitcher, let alone Burt Blyleven, who already has so much stamina. If it's a good train and it's got 5 stamina, then maybe I can live with it, right? But if it's through, if he's not even to level 10 and he's got more than 5 to stamina, it's just not worth it for me, and I would reset that. Now, the other thing we're looking for is we want a left side heavy train. Unfortunately, a lot of times we are likely to see, when you're looking for one thing, you're likely to see something else. So in these trains that we're doing right now, it seems very likely to me that we will see, we'll do one more train 10 times. It seems likely to me that we'll see high stamina trains or trains with a lot of fastball and breaking ball and not as much location and velocity, because training in this game is totally random, and what you get each time is totally random, and you really just have to hold at it and cross your fingers and hope you get what you're looking for. So I'll finish this out, and it seems like one we're going to reset. Yeah, I can't see keeping that with 6 stamina. Yeah. So we're going to reset this one. Now, um, what I'm my goal right now is with all these stats that I'm talking about, I want to get X amount of stat, in my train. I'm talking about training him up to level 17. Why 17? Because we can use 3 amp tickets on him. Amp tickets are great, and when we get there, I'll show you a little bit more how we use them. But in essence, you only want to train to set. You want to use the amp tickets last because they allow you to perfect your train. The last thing you want to do is use amp tickets early in your train, even if it's a really great train. You don't want to use those amp tickets really early in the train. And then when you're trying to finish off their train up to level 20, you end up getting saddled with a bunch of stats you don't want. And then you just wasted your amp tickets, right? So that's why we train to level 17. And then from there, we finish off the amp tickets. Also, because amp tickets are guaranteed success, you're guaranteed to get the amount of stats that you're looking for from that amp ticket. It means that you don't have to worry about the constant grind and waste of points trying to get from level 18 to 19 or 19 to 20. So they're really helpful, really useful, but you have to, you really do just have to wait and hope you get a good set of, or a good train through 17 so that you can finish it off with amp tickets, right? So with that being said, I'm going to pause the video here. I'll keep running on his train, and if we get something we like through 17, I'll come back and I'll show you what we're going to do from there. All right, so here's the train that we've got. Pretty lucky with this train. A little bit too much to Breaking Ball, ideally, but can't complain with only 5 to stamina and with 26 to the left side. That's 15 to location, 11 to velocity. That's 26 to the left side, which means we'll be able to get 35 to the left side total once this train is done. Now, how do you finish off this train? So, we have 3 amp tickets, right? So we're level 17. That means we have 3 levels to finish off, which means we have 3 amp tickets we can use. That means we have 9 stats that we can apply and distribute in any way that we want, assuming you have the amp tickets to do that. So we have 9 stats. So I'm looking at his base stats right now. So if we could theoretically go throw all 9 into velocity, right? And then he would still have more location than velocity. He would have 15, 20 then at that point. I like generally 15 to the threshold. I generally like to be above when I'm looking at how much you want to put into a stat. I don't know if there's anything to that or if that's just like my thing. I like, if I'm going for that to be my first or second, unless you're going for an extreme train for a certain reason, generally I like to be above 15. For a third stat, generally I like to be 11 or above. For a first stat, depends on the situation. So I could go 15, 20 by putting all 9 in velocity. I think right now what my gut is telling me is we'll go 1 to location, and then we'll go 8 to velocity. So he would have 16, 19, 5, 5, 12. 16, 19, 5, 5, 12. That means that his breaking ball will be the third stat. That's fine. Fastball, breaking ball, it's okay. Again, we're trying to even out location velocity as much as we can. That means they'll be fairly close, and then once we cap out his training, once we use the amp tickets and get him to level 20, then his special training will be automatically applied once he hits level 20. So right now, you can see there's no special training there. Let's see what amp tickets we have. So that means we need 2 plus 3 velocity and 1 location 2 velocity. So usually I'll go to sort, see what we have. We have one location, two velocity. We need that because we're only going location and velocity, and we need that one location. This will give us the one location and the two velocity. All right. Oof, love to see that 22 location there. Now, we have, how about that? We have 2 plus 3 velocities. That's exactly what we need to finish off his train. So that's 1, 16, 16, and then this will give us 16, 19, at which point special training will be automatically applied. All right, so let's go take a look at our newly trained Bert Blyleven. So with special training, with the 10 to location and the 12 to velocity and the 4 to brake, he ends up with 130 location and 125 velocity. Nice. I actually think that's as close to perfect as I could get with the amount of points that I have on this account right now. I really couldn't afford to go too much longer training him because, if you run out of points, you don't have a train, you're kind of out of luck and up the stream without a paddle. So I like location being higher than velocity. In the same way that finesse is generally considered a better skill than dom pitcher, I like having the location higher, but I like that with this train, his velocity goes from being much lower than his location to very close. 130 location, 125 velocity. So hopefully that was helpful for you in helping you understand how to train a starting pitcher. I'll swap back now to the Phillies team where we will work on a bullpen pitcher and we will work on a batter. Cool, so we're back. And we are going to retrain this Pat Burrell. But first, we will finish up the pitcher segment by retraining our Steve Bedrosian here. So, I was talking a little bit in the segment for starting pitchers about dom and finesse pitcher, right? And right now you can see, if you take a look and take a look at the numbers, Bedrosian does in fact hit the dominant pitcher bonus. However, his location is far, far too low. So, I would like to retrain him, drop the fastball a little bit and the breaking ball a lot, and if we could pump that into location, well, then I think we would have a good train on him. So, we have enough amp tickets that even if we get a different skill set later and we have to retrain him again, I'm fine because I can use those whatever amp tickets. I don't really worry about that. So we are looking for a good train on our Bedrosian here. All right, so we've reset him. You can see naturally his high status fastball, then location, then break, then velocity. So we're going for a dom pitcher train. That means we want as little break as possible and as much velocity as possible, especially because we want to see if we can get location to be number 2. It's going to be a tough train because his velocity is so much lower than his location. But it's possible. The way that would work right now, so you see right now, he's got 4 more fastball than break. He's got 6 more location than velocity. That means he needs velocity to be number 1, location 2, and fastball needs to be a very close 3, and break needs to be very low if we were to try to make that work. Now, a lot of times what I'll do when I'm trying to figure out if a train like that is even possible is I will go to a worksheet that I've created in Google Sheets. Now, let me see if I can pull this up real quick. All right, so I hope that this is reading. So if you can see what we've got going on here, I've got this little worksheet. I know that Jfish did a video where he showed something similar. But I think that for me, this is I sort of do it this way. I have a bunch of different equations programmed into it, so all you have to do is enter certain quantities, and then you'll from there you'll see if the train that you want works. So I'll go put in those um, numbers, and then I'll show you what I'm talking about. So I've got Bedrosian's base stats in here. Now you can see his basic stats and what his current GI is. And the way the calculator work and the equations that I've done work, it shows you that right now, because I haven't put in any values for special training, so like I haven't put in which stat gets 10-8-2 or 6-4, 12-10-4, whatever. So these are all the same, but it shows you that his finesse bonus naturally starting out is 2, and his dom bonus is -2. That means, it's the inverse. So with that in mind, I can use this and sort of play around a little bit, and I'll pop some values in and see, like, once I've trained through 17 levels, what can I look for that may or may not work to get him a Dom pitcher train and still have location be number 2. So, this will be something where I'll fiddle around on my own time, take a look at what I can and can't do with it, and then I'll use that. And if it's going to be a nearly impossible train to get him velocity 1, location 2, and still hit the Dom bonus, then I won't even worry about it. I'll go velocity 1, fastball 2 to make sure I hit that bonus. I'm still trying to figure out if there's a way that I can share this with you guys, this a sheet that I have, in a way that you guys can click on it, you can use it, you can put in your own values, and it doesn't change it doesn't change the base level one. You aren't competing to use it. So like if 2 people are on, they're not overwriting each other's values. I'm still trying to look into it. I'm sure there's a way to do it. I'm just not entirely sure how yet. But if I figure that out, I'll let you know. But I wanted to show you that worksheet because that's sort of an important thing that I use when I'm trying to train a relief pitcher or a starting pitcher, or just trying to get a Dom or finesse bonus in general. And now that we've done that, we can hop back to our Bedrosian card and we'll start training. Same process that we worked on with our Blyleven. The only difference is stamina thresholds are lower. Stamina is even less for a relief pitcher. So usually I'll say 5 is the absolute max. I will not go above 5. Usually I want to aim for 3 or 4. It's really, really, really hard, especially when you're trying to get a Dom or finesse pitcher train on him. So, when I pause it to go do the training session myself, I'll probably be doing this for hours, if not days, before I come back. And hopefully I get lucky and it doesn't take that long, but in all likelihood it will, because I'm looking for a very, very low stamina train and a very specific dominant pitcher train on a card that isn't really built for it. So with that being said, I'll start the training and I'll come and show you what we've got once we've got a train. So we're back, and as you can see, we have dropped almost 150 level reset tickets and 15 million points to get not a very good train. This is legitimately the best train that I saw. Every other train that I saw either had super high stamina, we're talking like 7 or 8 stamina, or it had breaking ball in the 13 to 14 range. Legitimately 150 times. Non-stop, over and over and over and over and over again. I saw literally nothing else. It was the worst training session I have ever done. And after multiple days of that, that's the sort of thing that like makes me want to walk away from this game, stop making content, stop playing the game. Like, you save up resources for so long, and then you can't even get a good dominant pitcher train. Like, I legitimately wasn't even looking for Velocity 1, Location 2 after like the first 20 level resets. At that point, I said, you know what, I'll just take a good dominant pitcher train with high location, right? And I didn't even get that for the next 120 level reset tickets. I'm just like so unbelievably frazzled. I've done the math, so we're going to work with this train right here, and we will be able to get him the Dom pitcher bonus going velocity 1, and then we'll go fastball 2. And location will go 3. Location's already higher, but after we use amp tickets, it'll be even higher. So at the very least, it's a better train than he had before. Slightly higher stamina, but location will be higher. Velocity will be a little bit lower. I'm okay with that. I don't really mind too much. You know, it would have been great to see this kind of train after, you know, the 30th, 40th level reset ticket. I would have been fine with that. But, you know, 120 level reset tickets, and I'm ready to, like, just blow my brains out. All right, so we're going to go 5 location, 4 to velocity. So we'll go location and velocity. Location 1 velocity. One more of these, so that's 4 location 2 velocity. And then we'll go 1 location 2 velocity. And that'll give us 12, 15, and 14, which will give us velocity 1, fastball 2, location 3. So at least his location is much, much higher. Now his velocity is a little bit lower, but you know, he hits the Dom pitcher bonus with higher location now, and that's about all that I can hope for. If you can't tell, I am incredibly defeated, and I'm ready to just freaking burn it all down. You know, he's better than he was before. It just took too many resources and too long to get there. So, all right. I'm still going to show you real quick training a batter. Since it's a bench bat, if it doesn't go my way after like 5-10 level resets, I'm not going to be too fussed over it, and I'll just move on. So this Pat Burrell card, not a terrible train right now. 17 to the right, so you see 8 speed, 9 field. 17 to the right, too much. Don't want that. Usually, depending on what kind of card it is, with a SIG, I usually aim for 12 or less. With a normal team card, usually 14 or less. And, you know, with a card like this on my bench, honestly, I would take anything lower than 17. And in terms of what I'm looking for, there are different trains of thought. Outside of rare exceptions, I almost always look for power 1, and then the second highest would go to whichever is lower, contact or eye. So in this case, for Pat Burrell, for his train, I would look for power 1, eye 2, contact 3. That way, contact and eye even out, because eye is lower, it's got the lower base stat and the lower GI. So eye and contact even out, and you get him as much power as you can, since that's frankly the most important hitting stat in this game. The only other thing that you would ever worry about when training a batter is speed, and that only is the case if your card has Barrel It Up. Now, there are different trains of thought on Barrel It Up, and before we do this, I'll go show you real quick. There's some debate as to whether Barrel It Up is 100 or 225 combined contact and speed, or if it's 125 contact and 100 speed. You know, whether you need to hit the combined threshold or you need to hit both individual thresholds to get the Barrel It Up bonus. As far as I'm aware, nobody really knows. In my experience, you need to hit both individual thresholds. You need to hit the 100 speed and the 125 contact. Now, if you're training a card for Bail It Up, like this Victorino card is, you also need to take into consideration that your stats will likely get nerfed by Last Boss. Now, at level 8, so if the card is Black Diamond, they have Last Boss and they took it to level 8, which usually if they have Last Boss and it's a Black Diamond card, that will be the skill that goes to level 8. That nerfs all of the batter stats by 12. So it drops them by 12. So that would mean that this Victorino card is suddenly looking at 123 contact and 96 speed, both below the thresholds we need to hit. Now, we just got Batter's Chemistry on this team, which adds, because it's not on a legend, it adds +7, which means this Victorino card does hit the threshold, even if he's nerfed by Last Boss. So usually, if I'm training for Barrel It Up, I always think about needing to be 5 over that threshold, because you get nerfed by 12 from Last Boss, and you get the 7 from Barrel It Up, or from Batter's Chemistry, which means net gain, you're at -5 across the board for all your stats. Which means, for me, believing that you need 100 speed and 125 contact in order for a card to hit Barrel It Up, I need that card to have 105 speed and 130 contact. If it hits both of them in normal condition with Batter's Chemistry, even with Last Boss, they'll still hit Barrel It Up bonus. However, we're not going to be training Victorino because we already got it for him. Usually, unless it's a SIG or the rare card like Adalberto Mondesi, who has stupid high speed, you won't be going for Barrel It Up on a normal card. It's almost impossible, and it's not worth the investment on any other kind of card. It's just not. So, usually you only have to worry about Barrel It Up on that kind of card. Pat Burrell here, frankly, might have... Yeah, his speed is so low that he probably wouldn't even hit Barrel It Up with being a SIG, even with being a Black Diamond SIG. So, well, yeah, because if he were a SIG, that'd be +10 to all his stats. So he would be at 94 speed. We took him to Black Diamond, that's another 5. So then we're looking at 99 speed. To get him to 105, we need another 7, plus the 8 he already has, and we're looking at 15 speed of a train just to get him Barrel It Up. It's not worth it. It's the same issue that I've been having with Carlos Santana. His speed is just as low, and it's not really... it's hard for me to justify retraining a good train with, unless they add training storage, because as you could see with Bedrosian, you just dump resources into trains. You need to be prepared. But that's beside the point. For Pat Burrell, again, we're looking for Power 1, I2, Contact 3. But if it's a good train, if we have a really low combined right side train, and we have Contact 1, I2, Power 3, and we can adjust that with amp tickets, then we'll do that. If it's something where it's like 22 to Contact and we're not going to be able to hit Power and I, we'll have to see what the right side is. It's kind of fluid in that way, but we'll reset him right here, and we'll do a quick train on Pat Burrell just to show you. The way I do this is I just sort of track. So we just got 2 speed. The first one we got 1 field. So right now we're at +3. There's another field, so we're at +4 to the right side. And, you have that number in your head. So for me, it's 14 for this card. 14, 15, 16, something like that, because it's on the bench. So now we're at 5. And you just track that, and if they're starting to get close, or if you're through a bunch of trains and it's like clear that, no matter what you're doing, field is going to be like that, just kind of screwed up the train. So we're at 9 already through 7. So in all likelihood, he's going to be way over. I'll keep going because he's a normal card, and I don't, I would rather spend the points than the level reset tickets, So maybe if it turns around, we can live with that. But It's not looking like it. So we're at 11 already. Again, we're just looking for anything below 17, and it seems like we are not going to get that. We're at 13 already, so, you know, not looking good for us. 14. And there's 16, so just not worth it. Again, I'd like to spend less than 10 level reset tickets on this, but you know, with the luck I had with Bedrosian, in all likelihood we're going to spend like freaking 20 and end up with 18 to the right. And there's plus 3 to the right. So we're already at 7 through 5. We're at 6 through, or 8 through 6. It's, you know, just freaking brutal. Nine already, with field being the highest. It's, you know, like, what do you do? Like, after a certain point, what do you do with these trains, you know? Like, what, how many resources are you supposed to drop before you get something usable, you know? All right, so I'll pause the video here, and then when I get something, hopefully we come back and I still have any amount of level reset tickets and points. And then I'll show you how we finish up his trade. So we're back. Was rough. Got a couple good trains on him that were then ruined because we got like +3 speed, +3 field for the last couple levels up to 17. We had 3 trains, I believe, ruined that way. And I didn't want to waste any more level reset tickets, so I said to myself, we're stopping at 25. And lo and behold, on 25, we got a good train, 12 to the right, which is actually better than I was hoping for. And a lot of contact, a lot of power. So, like I said, his eye is second. I want his eye to be second because it's the lowest of his primary hitting stats. So, what I'm going to do is we're going to go 6 to eye. That'll put it at 14. That'll give it the second slot, the edge over contact. And then we'll put the remaining 3 into power. So he'll have 13, 18, 14, which is actually a really good train. He's only a bench piece for me, but unless we pull a SIG, I'm going to keep him on the bench. So, all right, so let's see what we can do power and eye wise, because I only have a couple of those +3 eyes. So actually we can just do straight 1 power, 2 eye. We'll do 3 of these. That'll give him 3 power and 6 eye, which is exactly what we're looking for. Alrighty, and one last one. He's already looking way better than his train had before. Much higher contact and eye, and a little bit higher power too. So I'm happy with that. We dropped from 17 combined to the right side down to 12. So those additional 5 we're able to get put into more useful stats. And that's sort of how you train a batter. Luckily, that one was not nearly as long or frustrating as it was trying to get Bedrosian his train. But long story short, 18 million points down the drain, 160 level reset tickets down the drain, but we were able to do it for you. We were able to show you how to train a starting pitcher, a relief pitcher, and a batter. I'm never going to be doing this kind of video again, at least not in terms of training. I can do other sorts of intro videos, tutorial videos for you. I'd love to do other ones. Just do not want to do another training video, at least not for a long time. So hopefully this was useful if you're new to the game, if you're new to training, trying to figure out where to put stats, how to put stats, etc., etc. So, you know, if you found this useful, let me know. If not, it is what it is. The Phillies team and the Twins team got a little bit better for it regardless. So, it's hard to complain too much. And with that, we're going to have to hold off on training anybody else so we can save up level reset tickets and points for whenever the team select SIG drops. All right. Finally got that done. Hated my life doing it, and I'm glad it's over. Hey, hopefully you got something out of it. And I'll see you next week when, if my understanding is correct, hopefully we'll have this Team Select SIG next week. All right. I'll talk to you later. Bye.